this is John Lee with Dashboard Dudes, and I'm here with
Natalie Knudson.
and we are going to talk about her data journey.
My entire career basically has been in finance and accounting. So I've done finance and accounting for, I don't know, like 10 years-ish. Well, I actually was in mortgages for a while. So I did foreclosure processing for a while and then got into the solar industry and did finance and accounting there. And I did a lot of books on the side, kind of like as a side business for like other companies. And I would just like do accounting and things like that.
Very cool, very cool. Do you even know why did Better Earth even choose Domo?
We use a software called Insightly. None of the other competitors, Tableau, Power BI, none of those had the ability to like pull the data from that we needed from Insightly.
How did the conversation happen where your manager was like, hey, you're going to be using this thing called Domo? When did that happen?
Probably July through September sometime. The controller of our company, which is Pat, he's currently my boss right now. He basically got with me and was like, hey, we saw some of these reports you're doing. They look really manual. We're using this software called Domo for some of the financial stuff. Mm-hmm. Do you want to learn it and just see if you could like utilize it in your department? Because it kind of seems like what you're doing is very manual. And I was like, yes, I would love that. So he jumped on a call with me. It was about a 20-minute call. And he just gave me a super, super quick walkthrough of Domo. He was like, you build ETLs here, you build dashboards here. Like it was very basic. And he was like, here's some learning things. Here's John as a resource. If you want to use him, you can, whatever, like just here's the stuff. I'm not going to train you on how to do it. If you want to learn it, you can. And I was like, okay, great. So it took me about a week and I like went through all of your trainings. Like I think before we even met, I think I was doing it for about a week and then
You're watching my videos online.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I watched videos, like everything I could get my hands on, and I built out, I don't know if I built out a dashboard before you and I talked. I don't think that I had. But I was like, yeah, this looks really cool. This is what I need. Like I need to do this. But I think it took me about 2 weeks to build out a dashboard for stuff that I had been doing super manually. Every day I was like doing these data dumps. It was wild. Like we have eyes on data in our current software, but some of the data is in different software. So like we have some in HubSpot, we have some in, honestly, the biggest problem that I've solved probably really is just like bringing all the data together and putting it in one spot.
The kitchen.
That's actually the best.
You go to different grocery stores.
Yeah, because like I think I've given insights on like timelines and all of these things that are impacting customers and sales reps and all of these things. But the real problem that we've solved is not having 20 different points of data and people looking at 20 different points of data.
How did the company react when they saw all these dashboards being produced?
Everyone thought it was awesome. Like when I did the first dashboard for inside sales, then I actually got promoted because I showed Pat the dashboard that I created. And he was like, oh, that's really cool. And I was like, well, I heard you were, they had this thing called the Better Report. So they would like do this big data dump, do a bunch of stuff in Google Sheets, and then do the same thing. Like they would take it into beautiful AI and make this like presentation and present it once a month. So I knew that he was like trying to get that into Domo, and I was like, hey, do you like want some help? Like I could just jump in here and help. So I helped him build that out, and by help, like I basically like did all the heavy lifting on it. And then when I got that done, then I was like, hey, are you guys looking to centralize the data for the company? Because I really like working in Domo. It's like pretty easy. I've like learned it myself. Like I think I can really go somewhere here, and I have 10 years of experience almost in the solar industry. And so I was like, I know every single department. I know like how they all interact. I know how they work together. Like I feel like I'm a really good fit for this position. And they were like, honestly, like, let's talk about it. We hadn't really like considered you for it. But then they talked, Pat and our CSO talked, and they were like, yeah, you're a great fit for the position. So
Love it. And you had no SQL background.
No.
So when you first went into ETL, was that through watching my video or something?
Yes.
How to do it?
So the video that actually helped me the very most with ETLs was your video, how you go through each tool that's in like that you can utilize in ETLs. And I just I actually remember I was in my new apartment. I had barely moved in. It was just like me there on a weekend, and I was like folding some laundry, and I was
what
like
a nerd.
Yeah. And I was like, I gotta like do my training on Domo today, because like every day I would do like 30 minutes of just like video watching. And so I like grabbed out my laptop, and I typically watch like a show or something while I do laundry. And I was like, I gotta do this first. So I just pulled it up, and that video is like, I think like 45 minutes long.
Right.
And I remember starting it and being like, oh, I'm just gonna stop at 30 minutes. And the 30-minute timer came, and I was like, nope, this is super interesting. So I just finished watching it, and then I was like, yeah, I gotta, like, this is very helpful, you know. And so I tried a lot of the way that I learned was just to like build stuff out and then like run the previews on it, which is something that you showed me on one of our calls. But that's basically what I did every day. I just like would build something out, and then I would run a preview and be like, oh, is that doing what I want it to do? And I'd be like, oh yeah, no, it's not. Yes, it is. And then I would like go back and fix whatever I needed.
I tell people that doing Excel, I'm an Excel pro, and doing Excel, SQL, Domo, ETLs, whatever, it's like cutting an onion. It's not something you can cram for. You just have to do it 10,000 times. And once you start doing it, you get better. That's like this, there's no secret. It's just that. I've had people I've taught Excel to, and I can tell that they are not doing, and I'm always like, all right, just do 5 minutes on do VLOOKUP pivot table summits in the morning. And I can completely tell when they're not doing it because they stumble. It takes them 7 minutes to do a VLOOKUP or something. Like, hey, if you had done this every day, and there are people who you can tell like, dang, you just knocked it out. I had one person I taught, it took this person 7 minutes to do VLOOKUP, 7 minutes. And then I had been working with him, and then next time he did it in 57 seconds. I was like, see, nothing has changed. You just have to do it, right? So exactly. Well, let me ask this before I get into that. How many dashboards, just off the top of your head, do you think you have made?
80 plus.
Right. Right.
I know, because I just barely looked.
Cool. 80 plus dashboards.
Yeah.
And what type of teams are coming at you? You have obviously operations coming at you, sales coming at you. What
Customer
else?
success, sales experience, like sales, like sales divisions. We have dealers, inside sales, and then like basically contractors. So we like call them we call it Team Earth, but they're basically an inside dealer, I guess. So we have those. I also have like, for operations, there's like tons of departments. We have like surveys, the inspections department, PTOs. There's just like
and
tons.
You're a team of one.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. You've done 80 dashboards since that September to June time frame. So another like 9 months.
Yeah.
Just that's almost like 10 a month.
Yeah.
10 dashboards. If you had to give another Natalie watching this or whatever, just advice on like zero SQL background, zero, never heard of ETLs, Domo, whatever in her life, what 3 things would you tell her?
I would say first off, just be fearless in like learning, like fearless in your ability to find things to learn. Because I think there's so much information out there, and especially with Domo, they provide so much. Your stuff is like really helpful. And I think just finding it and learning it is a great, like, that's like the biggest thing. And then the other thing is I would just say be like very consistent. Like, I learned because I didn't go a day, including weekends, without doing at least 30 minutes of training. So I think those are like the 2 biggest pieces. And then also just like, don't be afraid to try, because I think it's very overwhelming and it feels like a lot when you don't know anything. And I just jumped in. I was like, yeah, I'm going to learn this.
I'd like to share some insights I have about you from working with you. First thing is, I would definitely say the tenacity is, I like that you're in it, working on it, right? I have had people in different organizations I've worked for or whatnot who don't want to learn. They really don't. And that's cool. There are some people who just want somebody to do it for them, but somebody has to learn. And if it's me, like, I know it, but if somebody internally, I'm always like, let me make you the me of your organization. And I am just brought in for the higher level stuff. The second thing that I'll say is, I love the inquisitive nature that you bring to it, because you're thinking like, that doesn't feel right, and that's what we need to start doing. A lot of people just split out numbers and like, here's a number. It's like, does this make any sense? That doesn't make any sense, right? Like, you can't be saying that someone was on a call for 1,000 seconds. Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? It's like, slow it down, and does it feel right? And asking those questions, like, does this make sense? Is this right? Because if you give somebody spoiled food, it's not going to end well. Same thing, if you give somebody crappy, and you can build a lot of mistrust if you give somebody data that's wrong, or whatever, it's built on something that's inherently wrong. People are
Yeah.
just going to be like, data-driven culture. People are very quickly to just discount and be like, nah, I don't
Yeah, and
I
I've
don't
had
believe
to
in
learn
that.
that too. So
Right. The last thing I'd say is I like that you like preach it and that you share it with people. It's not something you just do over here, but you're actively working to make sure that people in your organization are looking at this stuff that you're making, because
mhm.
otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
Just doing it.
Yeah. So when we started with our Domo dashboards for customer service, then wait times were like pretty high. So we used Twilio for our call service. They use the data platforms on there, so I'm not sure why they didn't like catch these things. But I think the reason that it solved the problem is because there was higher eyes. There was like more eyes on it. There was more attention on it, and like because the data was so centralized, it wasn't just the leader of that department, which he knew there was a problem and he was like doing everything he could, but it pushed his leader and other people to like say, hey, this is an issue, like let's dive in here more. And so like, and the leader of customer success, he's just like, he's phenomenal. And so like what he's done with that division and like reducing those timelines and like finding out all, like diving into that data and like finding out why, like the why behind it, was really awesome to watch.
Worst war story that you have of data stuff?
Yeah, I like had this parent dashboard, I guess is that what it's called? Like you can do sub dashboards.
Yeah.
So I had this parent dashboard and I was like, I created like a new one and I was like gonna put that as the parent dashboard because this parent dashboard like didn't have any like data on it. It was just kind of a placeholder. And then I had like created a different one and I was like, oh, I want to move this to the parent one. So instead of just going and moving all those dashboards under and then deleting, I deleted the parent dashboard, which deleted all the dashboards under it. And that was a nightmare. All the cards were there still, luckily, like I didn't delete cards. But yeah, we had this one dashboard that my boss used regularly and like a lot of people use. It was gone. And our CSO came and asked like 2 weeks later, he was like, hey, where did this dashboard go that I was like, looking at? And I was like, I deleted it. I'm so sorry. So yeah, that was a big learning experience to just like slow down and kind of check what you're doing first, which, like you and I have gone over that with me. I'm like a very fast moving person. Slow down, Natalie. That was like the whole theme of our relationship at the first is like, just slow down. Just slow down. And I was like,
but I gotta go.
I'm like, I have so much to do.
Well, thank you very much. And I always appreciate your time and talking with you. What's your favorite trick in the ETL?
A group buy, obviously.
Love a group buy. I love a good group buy.
Love a group buy.
I love a group buy. Yeah.
Really limits your ability to do anything. It's my favorite part about it.
Yeah, there's like Taco Tuesdays, like Thursday group buys.